Hello, this is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, filling you in since 2002. Like and subscribe and leave comments down below. So this is Big Boa. Big Boa is a classic G.I. Joe character. He's a Cobra trainer, a boxer. He's the guy who trains all the troops and makes sure they're ready and fit for combat against G.I. Joe. Most of it is an original sculpt. Some of it has been retouched, redone by Hasbro. He doesn't come with any weapon because he's the weapon. He's also bigger than most other figures. So let's see how he stacks up to the other guys and how much fun we can have with him while he trains those poozers. So Big Boa trains what I call poozers. Poozers is a term used by Kilowog, one of the Green Lantern trainer, who trained Hal Jordan and a bunch of other Green Lanterns. So I like the term poozers, and that's what Big Boa is about. He's all about training poozers. What's a poozer? It's a trainee, or someone that needs a little bit more help getting up to speed with combat and what it means to be a soldier or a Green Lantern. So this is Big Boa. I don't really stretch him very often, but that's a figure for you in a nutshell. Part of it is reused body parts from the Roadblock Gung Ho build and new ones. So I'm going to be showing you exactly what it is. This figure is mythical because it was created to fit with the Sylvester Stallone Rambo action figure, which was never released because Sylvester Stallone decided to cancel. Well, it was not a Rambo, it was actually a Rocky. He decided to cancel the specific G.I. Joe figure that was meant for the line, and Big Boa allegedly was created to fit with Stallone, to be his opponent. So the Cobra version of him, some stories say that he was actually supposed to be, Big Boa was actually supposed to be Sylvester Stallone. We don't know, but this guy really looks Italian, and he has a passing look that will remind you of Sylvester Stallone. That's because the original figure did not have a face, and we'll see about that right now. So I'm just gonna start playing with the fists, removing the hands first. I don't like the helmet face on this guy, but that's what he had originally. So nice mug, as you can see, beat up, cauliflower ears, just like a boxer. You can tell he's been in combat. Broken nose. Gotta love this figure. Nasty British guy. Brutish, not British. For some reason the peg in the neck is black. I don't know why. That doesn't look good. Should have been pink, but that's okay. So with the helmet, he looks like a biker or someone that could even fit with the dreadnoughts. Unfortunately, and I don't think that should be the way it is, but that's how they made him. So you have to put the base of the gloves in his hands, in his wrist, I should say. You put the base before you put the fist, well, the box glove. Be careful with the pegs. Those pegs look like they could break easily. They're long enough because of the wrist insert. That's probably why they're so long. I don't want to twist them too much. I'm afraid they might break. Because they're very stiff. He's one of the first classified figures that has a superhero build. I mean, Mindbender also had a chest, exposed chest. So did Gung Ho and obviously Roadblock. But in their case, they all had covering or something like that, and their legs were covered. They were like pants. This guy is not wearing pants. He's wearing like a lycra or something like that, training gear. So obviously the two other hands are meant to grab 90 pounds weight. The peg is also pretty long with those guys. So when Big Boa starts training some poozers for Cobra, maybe he should do a better job, because it seems that the Cobras always get beat up by G.I. Joe. I might have put the wrist insert backward. It's not pretty clear how they're supposed to go. Some people prefer the helmet face. I prefer this one. So let's find him some poor poozer who's going to be training with him. Maybe this fire team guy. This one is wearing a Viper, Televiper radio. I felt that I needed a radio guy in my His Tank crew. So he's not a Televiper, but he's a radio guy. So as he trained with Big Boa, he's probably shitting in his pants right now, because Big Boa is a huge dude. Even crouching, he's the same size, if not taller. Okay. So, like I mentioned, Big Boa reuses a few parts from existing figures. What does he reuse? Well, he's reusing the back of the chest, because it's just not exactly the same shape, but it's glued on. Might be reusing the Gung Ho and Roadblock build, but the front of the chest with the nipples, that's new. He still has a good old ab crunch with a ratchet. The arms, as everybody has noticed, are the exact same ones from Roadblock and Gung Ho. Unfortunately, they are not pinless, because they're using the old skull for that. But those are the biggest arms that we've got so far in the G.I. Joe line for uncovered arms, like muscle arms. So that's why they're not pinless. Even Zartan has smaller biceps and arms. I'm not sure about the forearm, if it's a new part, or if it's taken also from Roadblock. The chest piece looks like it would come from Dr. Mindbender, but it's not. It's not Dr. Mindbender's part. It's actually from, well, it's a new part. It looks like Mindbender's, but it's not. Like I mentioned, thighs, completely new. I don't believe any figures has that. And the pugilist boots, boxing boots, those are completely new. Now I like this figure, but I've got a feeling this guy's going to be a peg warmer. For some reason, he feels like a peg warmer, even though he's a great figure. But at the same time, even though he's a peg warmer, well, a future peg warmer, he might be a very good figure if you're trying to create custom Cobras and so on, custom Joes, or even Marvel Legend figures. He does come with a pretty much plain build. That's probably why I think he might be a future peg warmer. You can tell when those figures are going to be peg warming. It's a very beautiful figure, but he's not like, there's something about him that's missing that makes it well, for the G.I. Joe line, I would say, where they usually have more gear, more equipment, this guy comes with an alternate hand, boxing gloves, and regular hands and weights. But it doesn't come with any weapon because obviously he's a weapon, and that's unfortunate because of that, he may not be a very popular character, even though he can punch any Cobra or Joe easily. In the comic, this guy was always matched up with Chuckles. So I feel those two guys go together hand in hand if they go in a fight. Chuckle does not have the advantage here. He's the smaller guy. As he's going undercover over at Cobra, he befriends Big Boa for a while, but then he has to betray him, might have to kill him. So it's usually a fight, which one will outlast the other one the most. So I feel those two guys go very well together. So Chuckles as the guy who infiltrates Cobra, and Big Boa as the guy who befriends Chuckle, try to train him, give him some better training, well, attempt to give him better training than what G.I. Joe has, but then fails miserably. I'm just gonna go pick up my Sergeant Slaughter and see how much of that might have been reused for Big Boa. So here is Sergeant Slaughter. This guy couldn't stand the training with Big Boa and he's just falling. That's why he's carrying the radio. He's not tough enough. So this Cobra guy, not gonna last very long. First kill from the Joes because he didn't listen to the training he got from Big Boa. Too bad. Well, this is Big Boa. Sergeant Slaughter. I thought the boots might be the same. They're not. He really has some pugilist boots in terms of Big Boa. Sergeant Slaughter has regular soldier army boots. In terms of size, they're about the same. You can tell that the body is reusing a lot. Let's look at the forearms if they're the same. I believe they're the same. The entire arms are the same. Obviously, the thighs, they're not. So Big Boa reuses all of the arms here. Possibly the neck. Let's see if the neck is the same. Not too sure that the neck is the same. And poor Sergeant Slaughter dropped his action figure. His classified figure. So in a matchup, it would be either Sergeant Slaughter or Big Boa in a fight. That'd be fun to watch. So Big Boa was never featured in the Sunbow cartoon, so we don't know how he would fare against Sergeant Slaughter or Chuckles. And that's too bad. So in terms of scale, he's about the same Sergeant Slaughter. So he's a big guy. Roadblock, well, Sergeant Slaughter is Sergeant Slaughter is taller, even without his hat. I haven't removed the hat for so long, it's stuck. Okay, well, without the hat, Sergeant Slaughter is shorter. Slightly shorter. But he looks much better with his hat, so I'm just gonna keep it on. I've got the G.I. Joe Classified Sergeant Slaughter, not the one that came with the one from Valaverse, which I don't think is as good looking because he's not the same size. He's not a big guy, he's a small guy. It's more accurate to the real Sergeant, but it's not Sergeant E. It's not what we expect from Sergeant Slaughter. So this is Big Boa. Nothing special to write about. With the weight, he looks okay. He's a boxer, a pugilist, inspired by Sylvester Stallone. It's Rocky Balboa. The Big Boa joke comes from that. He's a classic Cobra, and he might be a shelf warmer pretty soon. So if you find him, or if you want to wait, just wait. He might be cheaper in a few months. Wait, then get him and start customizing. You could make tons of dreadlocks with this guy. Just have to change a few heads here and there, take parts and extra gear that you've got lying around, and just have fun with him. He's got a good build for that. This is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, filling you in since 2002. Like and subscribe, and have fun with your figures, and have fun with your Big Boa. That's the closest you'll ever get to a Rocky Balboa action figure in the G.I. Joe Classified line. See you next time.